massive cleaning projects. So you want to look at different products that are out there, and there are a number of them. Are you cleaning hard surfaces or non-porous materials as well? Granite countertops are certainly a lot different than cleaning a couch or upholstered chair. And then you want to include into your considerations any equipment that's needed, or ask a contractor what equipment they're going to be using. You can go to the next one, Gina.
Yep. Give me 1 second. Oh, hold on.
Thank you.
Yep.
So this slide just illustrates, some of the things that you're gonna need, or your contractor or cleaning contractor is going to need. So you're gonna look at visibly dirty surfaces and approach that first. Maybe you want, if it's a dusty surface, maybe you want to dust it first, so you're not consuming more cleaning materials, towels, and that type of thing. So you can vacuum it or dust it. Maybe if there's like a liquid spilled on it, you want to get that cleaned up first, because your goal is to sanitize, okay? And we believe that sanitizing is done by source removal. There's no products out there that are confirmed by CDC or the EPA that knowingly kill this virus, the COVID-19 virus, but they are effective at killing other viruses out there. So you want to clean those dirty surfaces, throw away any of the rags that you're using, and then look at the products that you're using to clean those surfaces after that. Follow all the directions on the label, and make sure if it's you or you're communicating with a cleaning contractor, that there's total transparency. They have to tell you what's being used to clean your home or your business. Okay, we can go to the next one, Gina.
Karl, before you go ahead, I had a question that was privately chatted to me. And they asked, is bleach an appropriate product to use if you're diluting it?
Okay, this is bleach is a great example. Bleach is effective at cleaning this, but you have to dilute it. It's usually a 5 to 10% dilution ratio. You don't want to use it full strength, and it's because of the odor and the toxicity involved in straight bleach. I'm sure some of you have tried that. You start wiping everything down with bleach, and then you start getting a little lightheaded. So you also, while you're cleaning those areas, you want to make sure that the area is well ventilated. And this is also a great example because there's people going out there. I'm sure all of you have heard, people are coming into businesses and they're fogging. Fogging's kind of a misused term. It's more of like a fine mist that they're doing. And there are many products, even on the EPA registered list, that should not be fogged. It's toxic for you, even if you're wearing, heavy grade PPE. It's just not good to be breathing these things, and you want to be careful using them in an inappropriate manner.
Great, thanks, Karl. There's one other question that came in. Can you explain a little bit more what you mean about using disposable rags? Do I need to use one for each surface that I clean?
If you're changing a surface, yes, I would change. We use everything that we use is disposable. So we take an approach of, using a, disposable rag. You don't want to use expensive towels or anything, or sturdy kind of like shop towels. So we'll fold it up and fold it in half, and then fold it in half again. And then we're using that one surface to wipe. You may get 2 wipes out of it, and then you want to flip it over and then use the other side to wipe it. Then you can flip it inside out and wipe on both sides with that as well. So you really have 4 wiping surfaces, so you can maximize that one towel. And again, it's, towels and, kind of heavy duty shop rags. We have something like this. it looks kind of like a napkin, but it's a heavy duty towel. So you can wipe with 2 surfaces, then you can fold it inside out. Now you've got 2 more surfaces, okay? If it's even more heavy duty, you can flip it inside out again and use it that way. So you're always trying to wipe with a clean surface. Again, source removal. So you're trying to remove it, not necessarily kill it, because again, there's nothing that's confirmed to effectively kill the COVID-19 virus. This slide, we have some examples of surfaces that you want to try to keep clean. It's high touch surfaces, and when you're talking to a contractor about these things, these are the considerations. Again, there's people going in and they're saying, oh, we just need the fog and everything will be fine. And it may be, if nobody has been in the building that's been infected with the COVID-19 virus. But these are some of the things that you can regularly wipe down, either yourself or have a regular maintenance company come in. Just make sure that they're doing it the right way. And then again, visibility, and then the transparency translates to your customers as well, that you're taking steps to keep the facility clean so they feel safe entering. So now we're going to get into a little bit more of the technical side of things. So you have
Karl,
more. Sure.
can I add just something on that?
Yep.
So I've been involved in a lot of commercial real estate calls and architectural calls, and the message that is the same. I don't care if you're a Fortune 100 company or you're a barber shop. The pendulum is swinging, and everybody's trying to figure out what the new norm is, and they want to keep their employees safe, and they want to keep whether it's employees or their patrons safe, to give them comfort and trust to walk back into those doors. And that's where the transparency comes in. So there's a lot being done to educate, again, whether it's employees, customers, whatever the case may be, on what is being done so they do walk through the doors again. So what Karl's talking about, and we talked about the Harris poll earlier, 41% said that cleaning was one of their main concerns. It's a 3-part prong here, wheel, that there's the cleaning, there's the adapting to the new norm. We're not sure where it's landing. And automation is going to play a factor in all of that also. So when we do clean and we do when you guys do all these different things in your own businesses, it'll change from business to business. Being able to put up signs. Signs are like one of the bigger things that are being communicated out there. Letting everybody know whether if you do clean something, state when you did clean them. Having, I know people, I'm sure saw, stripes on the floors to keep 6 feet, the social distancing. Always reminding your clients, or customers, employees, what needs to be done to have a safe environment. So that's what I've been, that's where the transparency is extremely important. And we're just one part of the whole piece.
Sure. Thanks for that, Blaise. That's good information. There's transparencies at several different levels.
Correct.
Absolutely. All right. So here, let's get into some of the more technical aspects. These are just some general terms that are used in the cleaning and industry. So you have basically three levels of clean. You have general surface cleaning. This is what I referred to earlier as getting any visible dirt off any surfaces that you're going to be cleaning. Spilled juice, spilled milk, dust, anything that's visible. You want to try to clean that first. Then there's the sanitizing aspect. sanitizing, it reduces but doesn't necessarily kill any bacteria on a treated surface. This is really the approach that we try to take. I'm going to keep saying this: source removal. So if you can use any kind of a safe EPA registered product and remove the bacteria, use that four-side approach on a cleaning rag, and then throw it away, that's your best approach. Because again, there's nothing that knowingly kills this COVID-19 virus. Okay, there are plenty of products that knowingly kill SARS, MRSA, HIV, some of the ones that we've heard about in the past. They've developed products and they have, what they call on the product labels is kill claims. So they can definitely say it kills this, but they don't know if anything kills this virus yet. All right. There's different theories and approaches. You've talked about, you've heard about washing your hands, warm water, soap, because they believe that this virus is a protein surrounded by a layer of fat, and the warm water and soap is, dissolving this layer of fat and allowing the protein inner part of this virus to die. So you got the last level is disinfecting, and that's, killing all the germs on these surfaces that you're trying to clean. Okay, we can go to the next one.
Okay, yep.
Is there any questions at this point? Anything popping up, Gina?
No, it's kind of hard for me to see the chat box because I'm going back and forth between this, but nothing that I see right now.
Okay.
I have one question.
Sure.
What about the handheld high frequency ultraviolet light?
They're showing some promise in killing this, and there are some organizations that are actually recommending UV light to be installed in front of air handler coils. So if you have a commercial setting, you have that big unit on the roof that does your heating and air conditioning. They're looking at a couple of things. They're increasing the size of the filters, which increases the efficiency to capture particles. And then they're talking about putting UV lights in front of the coils to kill this virus. I know there's hospitals that have gotten like the UV boxes. So they'll put like phones in there, different things to kill the virus. And, apparently it's working.
They do have they're advertising now a handheld device, which supposedly you can pass over objects. You can pass them over objects and they will disinfect or eliminate the virus.
Yeah, and you know what? I think we're gonna see a lot of products coming out there, but again, there's no confirmation, which is why we're taking, the removal approach. It almost seems too good to be true that you can wave a UV light over a surface and it's going to put everything on there. I'm just, I'm skeptical about this kind of stuff, which is why I'd rather.
Well, there's no way to test it.
That's exactly right. And we've, been talking with, we work with several environmental companies, because, we do mold remediation and, blood cleanups, that type of thing. So sometimes we have to have environmental companies come in and get involved. This is kind of a weird thing because there's no test that can tell you that it's definitively there. And on the back end, there's no test to say that you've removed all of it, if it was there. So the best approach is try to remove it as thoroughly as you can from every surface that you're trying to clean. And then again, some of the things that we're talking about on this slide, and the middle one is very important. If you just create a cross ventilation in your house and you can blow a lot of the suspended stuff, out into the regular air, it's going to get diluted and you're just reducing the amount of risk.
Hey, Carol, a question that came in just based on what you just said is, does it go into the air ducts as well?
So there's a lot of talk about that, and the CDC has not come out yet and said definitely clean your air ducts. Okay, can it get in there? Yes. If your duct work is dirty, I guess it can get captured in there. I think as far as air duct cleaning goes, if your ducts are dirty, you should get them cleaned just because it improves the efficiency of the equipment that you have. It improves the lifespan of the equipment that you have, and it promotes overall better air quality in your home. Commercially, some of the things that they're suggesting is a commercial air system has a supply and a return, and then also most of the time has fresh air, incoming fresh air. A lot of people tend to, because it's easier to cool the air, they just recirculate the air over and over again. It goes through your return, through the filters, and then gets recooled again with your coil. The CDC is recommending that you get more fresh air in. So there's a little door, a damper door that you can open to allow different amounts of air to come in. And what they're suggesting is, open that all the way up, let fresh air in. It'll still get cooled. It just won't be, as efficient in cooling.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So let's talk about, setting up for your cleaning, whether you're going to do it yourself or if you're going to hire a contractor to do the cleaning for you. First and foremost, you got to wear the right protective equipment. We've been hearing about PPE, and there's different levels of it. So when you talk about PPE, the basics are, and you'll see it on the back of most product labels, is wearing gloves. People have been, clamoring over the rubber gloves, the nitrile gloves, but there's still dishwashing gloves on the shelves in supermarkets. They work just as well. As a matter of fact, when we're working with harsher chemicals, we'll wear those and roll down the cuff so drippage can't get into our skin. So you want to wear some eye protection and a mask. And the reason you're doing this is for a couple of reasons. If there's nobody that's been in the environment that's infected, you're really protecting yourself from the chemicals that you're using. You don't want some of these things to get on your skin, and you don't want to breathe in the fumes emitted from some of these products. And certainly eye protection, you don't want any splash getting into your eyes or on your skin. If there's a knowingly infected environment, we're stepping it up on the advanced PPE level. We're wearing a Tyvek suit. We're wearing a half-face respirator. You've seen it, like the fire department will wear. They'll have filters on the side, and we're fully protecting our face. And again, we're talking about the ventilation. You can ventilate with an exhaust fan in your window. You're pulling air through the building. Open up another window, exchange the current air in the environment with new air, and then blow the old air outside. Okay. What in our industry, we use filtered air scrubber. We just use it because it's a little bit more powerful. What we've been told is that the COVID-19 molecule is smaller than what a HEPA filter can capture. So we're not really charging for the use of the equipment as if we were charging for it in a mold job. We're putting it in there because it's a little bit more efficient at changing the air a little bit more rapidly. But if it's an infected environment, the CDC is saying run those air scrubbers or change that air for at least 12 to 24 hours prior to the start of cleaning to protect the people that are going to be working in that environment. Now we'll get into some of the cleaning products. We're telling people only EPA registered products should be used. So it's a great question to ask when you're buying the products, and it's a great question to ask when you're hiring a contractor. what products are you using? Are they EPA registered? And you have to pay attention to the application methods. Again, not all of these products can be put through a fogger. That's been the magic bullet. You know, besides the UV lights, everybody's going out and selling these foggers. You're going to hear about electrostatic foggers, and they're putting all sorts of products in here. Some of these things should not be aerosolized into the air because they're not good to breathe. And I'll explain some of this equipment. The electrostatic fogger, you're going to hear this a lot get advertised. A lot of the better ones are on several week back orders. We've heard up to 30 weeks on a back order. All they do is they use an electric charge to surround the objects that you're trying to spray. But again, if you really want to remove, if you're worried about COVID-19, you're still going to want to, after you spray that, you're going to still let it sit and then wipe it off. So the next thing you're going to look for is, are the contractors, or, if you're educating yourself to do the cleaning, is the contact or dwell time. This refers to the manufacturer's recommendations as to how long it should sit on a surface in order to kill some of the things that can be killed, some of the other viruses out there. So you have to, usually between 5 and 10 minutes, some are a little bit quicker, but those are the more harsher products out there. The last bullet point on here is, again, and please, I think Gina's going to distribute this. You can go on this EPA link, and you can look to see if the products being used in cleaning are on the EPA's list of registered products. And on there, it'll tell you how those products should be used.
Great. Hey, Karl, you just got a question into the group. How long before you reopen should thorough cleaning be done?
You could do it the day before, but here's what we think is going to happen. Everybody's going to ask at once, and then nobody's going to be available. Many of us, including Bob and I, are Cranford residents. And, another segment of our business is water restoration. And Cranford's been, crushed by hurricanes in the past. And you know what happens? Your basement gets flooded, and you're on the phone, and you're trying to call every contractor out there to help you. I would, get it done, as soon as you can. Because once it's done, if nobody else goes in there, then it's clean. And then you can advertise that it's been cleaned. So on opening day, they feel like they're coming into a clean environment.
Just if I may, just to build on what Karl said, what we found interesting and kind of unique in this pandemic is there's different answers as to the urgency any particular vertical market will have for different reasons. If restaurants are not allowed to open, there's one time that will, perhaps limit them from moving forward. Schools, we do a lot with hospitals, so they're, going full-time, full tilt. So there's a different answer for every other, in each different vertical market. So again, to Karl's point, with given supply and demand of getting providers, we certainly would recommend getting it proactively, not reactively, as late as you can, as much as possible.
Right. Just try to avoid the rush. That's what
Right.
My best advice would be.
And then, guys, a follow-up came in. Then what should be my regimen thereafter, after I open?
Well, you have to keep an eye on if anybody comes in exhibiting any signs of infection. Other than that, you're just using good approved products, standard practices, and wiping things down. And it really depends on the volume of people coming into your business. You may want to consider regular cleaning. There's some businesses reaching out to us that want cleaning done several times a day. I don't know if that's necessary. And And it also depends on the amount of things, items, contents in your business that's going to dictate that. If there's a lot of, you may want to implement, some kind of a protocol at your workplace. For instance, here we want to protect the outside environment from us because we're traveling from job to job, and we want to protect our employees from what's outside. So we have a decontamination chamber that we use. We enter our building. All of our employees have to come in through that area. The working guys on our trucks and everything, they have to go through, they blow themselves off, they wash their hands, and they go through a little foot bath. And while they're in this chamber, there's an air scrubber pulling the air outside. So it really depends on your business and what's in your home. And if you want to consider our availability, if you want us to come out and consult, we understand people are getting back in business. They haven't produced income in several weeks, months. So we're glad to hop on the phone with you or do a virtual tour or come out for a quick look and kind of tell you some approaches that you may want to take.
Awesome. Thanks, Karl. You got another question. Actually, you got two. How do you deal with bathroom use by patrons?
I would say, recommend to, it's hard because, you can't force people to do anything. If you have the availability, separate employee bathrooms from patron bathrooms would be advised.
This is an example of the automation aspect of the wheel that I was talking about earlier. These are the things where the pendulum is swinging that you guys are going to create the new norm, right? So you build the trust for the people to come in. And the bathroom is a great example. No more turning on the water spigot. It's just going to be, everything's going to be censored to some degree, and people are going to realize that. And then you're building trust with your clientele that they're going to come back. So whether it's a restaurant, a barbershop, whatever the case may be, or again, a Fortune 100 company, that's what they are doing, right? With cubicles, they're making them bigger. They're taking doors off of bathrooms, so you don't have to open up doors. They're automating doors if they have to have doors. So that is the long-term solutions. The cleaning aspect of it is the short term to get you going. But again, to be transparent and show your employees and your patrons that you are doing something will go a long way to get the business back in your door. And I think that's the end game here, right? Is to open up the doors and have people actually walk in.
I have a question. Liability issue. Is there a liability issue? Suppose we have a patron that says that he was fine, and several days after coming into our facility, he contracts the virus and says, I must have caught it there.
I defer to an insurance professional or lawyer on that. That's certainly something that could come up. This is all new. And I think, anytime an event like this happens, hurricanes, after things calm down, you start to see all the lawsuits.
Yeah.
It's an unfortunate side effect.
Yes.
I would just exercise as much caution as you can, because there's nothing you can do, and that's why we're saying visibility, signage. When you're working with a contractor, hey, is there something you can do that, tells my customers that you were in here cleaning this place properly?
You did everything according to CDC regulations. You followed all the rules. You're not negligent. That's the most important thing.
Absolutely.
Yep.
And,
Mitigating
if
risk.
you put a date, if you say, if it's every day, if it's once a week, for your employees, for your patrons, if you have a sign up somewhere that says, even if it's for your own business, making a sign, little A-frame sign or something like that, or a decal on the window, something that says, here's the last date that my place was clean.
In
Right.
addition to what you guys normally do, right? There's the day-to-day, hour-to-hour protocol that you're going to have to develop on your own, but it's in addition to also the third-party company or mass cleaning that you'll create is in addition to your day-to-day, hour-to-hour protocol.
Great. Thanks, guys. There's another question that came in that's kind of a follow-up to this. Do you know of any businesses who having clients sign a release of liability?
That's an interesting one. I haven't heard of that yet. There's two sides to that. I think that, it's a business looking to protect themselves, but I also think that some could construe that as breaking down the relationship between employer and employee.
Yeah, yeah. And the one thing that I can add to that, and that came in from Lisa, is I also sit on the reopening task force for the town. And I know they're looking into having people sign in once they do go into an establishment. So kind of like a way around for contact tracing. So just one thing that the town's looking into. You got a couple other, oh, go
And
ahead.
if it's used for that, that's a good purpose, because it's really for data collection rather than, a blame game.
Yep. You got a message in from Allison. What about secondhand stores? How should they handle donations?
Well, I think that's kind of what Blaise was talking about. If you can do no-touch donations through PayPal or some other means, a credit card, that's really the best approach. You're seeing more and more stores. You go to Quick Check, they got the shields in front of them, and they're still taking cash, but employees are wearing gloves. I think you're going to see less and less people using cash, or people pushing, putting signage up that says we prefer electronic payment.
Correct.
Yep. So Karl, this actually came in from a secondhand store. So I'm guessing it's donations of clothes, toys, things like that. Are there maybe ways to clean them prior to them coming into your store?
That's a great question. We work with on certain types of projects that we're involved in. We work with dry cleaners that specialize in this, and they don't have a solution for this yet. It's because they're cleaning things in hot water. They're using ozone machines. Ozone is, produces kind of like, if you will, it bleaches the air. It's a great deodorizer, and it's a disinfectant. But I don't know if there's any specific way that you could, tell people, hey, listen, you got to clean it in this type of way, and then certify that it's been cleaned before it comes into your place. And I know you certainly don't want to, Allison, to bear the cost of cleaning it yourself. You're kind of relying on the truth and honesty of the people providing you with these things, that, they're giving you clean clothes. What we try to do is, when we go out to different jobs, a pipe breaks in your house, we're asking the client, is anybody sick in your home? And you could start to ask those questions. Has anybody sick worn these items or sat on them, whatever's being donated? I would just, have some qualifying questions in place before you take delivery of them.
Great. You got a question from, let's see, Andy. Can stuff be left for a couple of days past the expected life of the virus on various surfaces? So I guess back to the secondhand shop, if I'm dropping off a toy, can it be left outside to maybe take care of what could have been contaminated on it?
Yeah, and you know what? There's actually a little piece on the CDC website about that. They're saying, you know, you may want to consider that for, you know, items delivered from Amazon or from other places that you might have ordered things from. Just let them sit outside, you know, if it's not raining, of course, and let them air out. Some people are going out with gloves on and wiping the boxes down and then letting them sit and air out. Yeah, that's, you know, but again, they don't know the exact amount of time.
Yeah,
Depends on when you need it. So you might want to put in some kind of,
only estimated.
it's estimated. Absolutely.
Yep. And I think that's what Allison just wrote. Would it help if donations were quarantined for a period of time before putting them out for sale?
Yeah, I think that's a great approach. Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's, you know, when we're dealing with bigger entities like schools, you have millions of, you know, in a school district, you could have millions of square feet of school, you know, but these schools haven't been occupied for a long time. So we're telling them, listen, don't, you know, because everybody's asking for a square foot price, and it's a very hard target to hit using square foot pricing. It's not accurate. It's based on assumptions, but if you can eliminate square footage right out of the gate, then you're lowering the price drastically. You know, so we're telling them, you know, maybe you don't need to do the hallways, or maybe just do a quick brush of, you know, door handles and things that have been touched, or ventilate. But the areas you need to focus on are the areas that you're going to occupy, administrative areas, teacher lounges, anybody that's going in there. You want to make sure that those areas are addressed. But I would say, yeah, quarantining is a good approach. But make sure it's a ventilated area so you can air that place out.
All right, we're all caught up on questions, Karl, so you can go back to your presentation.
Okay. So this, and I'll try to roll through. I'm giving you guys a lot of information. Again, I just want you guys to be educated and know what you need to do and what questions you need to ask so you can get things done correctly. So here's the categories that that we use to categorize levels of infection. So we're doing a category 1 as a proactive cleaning. That's a maintenance level cleaning. We're fogging, and I'll be clear on the fogging. It's a more of a mist. We're trying to, you know, not wet surfaces. The initial fogging is used to, the mist is attaching to any airborne particles and kind of putting weight on them and pushing them down to the floor where we can clean them, or horizontal surfaces. So that's one use of fogging or misting. Category 2, it says high touch point cleaning. That's because you might suspect that somebody was in your home or facility that had the virus. You don't know. So they're calling it a person under suspicion or person under investigation. So again, we're ventilating, we're misting, we're cleaning horizontal surfaces, countertops, tables, doorknobs, fixtures, you know, those types of things that you want to consider that being touched frequently. And the last category is, of course, when somebody you know was contaminated and entered your home or facility. You want to suit up, you want to ventilate that area, and then you want to go through your cleaning process.
Okay.
I see some more questions pop up. Is there?
Yeah, there's one, and I think this is kind of going to be mandated by the state, but what is the rule of thumb for customers per square foot? For stores, 2,000 square feet, how many customers should be allowed in at a time? I think those are going to be mandated by the state with the state guidelines, but if anyone has anything else to add to that.
But again, it goes back to the, you know, you dictate that to your client also, which that will build the trust for people walking in your door. If you do have that control and you are aware of it, I feel it's a positive thing, right? That's where you say you're not have signage. You're only going to allow X amount of people in at a time. You'll create the line outside. You'll have the lines on the floor. If there's, people have to pick up an order of food. That's all part of building the trust and moving forward and creating the new norm. And it's something that each business is going to have to figure it out for themselves, and what works and what doesn't work.
Absolutely. Again, the signage, you see it all over the parks.
Signage.
Keep your distance.
If you're educating everybody, everybody will be at ease and really work with you, and get this thing moving in the right direction quicker, and hopefully quicker than not. So.
Right. So here's some more enhanced cleaning things that we're introducing, and we think other companies are out there talking about it as well. People are just doing a more thorough cleaning. So if you have either the category 2 or category 3, which is suspicion of infection or confirmed infection, there's add-on surfaces that we may add into a protocol if necessary. You're gonna evaluate all the different surfaces that need to be cleaned, and that could vary between schools, offices, manufacturing, and recreational facilities. But then if there's areas of the building that nobody's gone into for a while, again, we're talking about creating isolation barriers, and that's putting up just plastic containment and saying, okay, we don't need to clean beyond here, but we're going to make sure that this area within the boundaries is ventilated and cleaned on a regular basis. And then, part of the planning process, if you're doing it yourself or doing it with a couple of friends, employees, or a contractor, is, discuss what the plan is and agree on it. Agree on what the scope of work is. You don't want somebody going in and, some other companies are, and we've done it too, are billing on time and materials because it was hard to budget. People were asking for a price up front, but didn't want you to come into the building. So they're saying, how can you give me a price? We started out using budgets. And then we would back that up with time materials. As time went on, our square foot price actually came down because we were billing on time and materials and only billing for the time that we spent in the facility cleaning it. So some of the add-on services that are being offered are, and you don't need to get into spot removal if you don't want to. That takes a little bit longer, but do a hot water extraction of the cleaning. That can be done on the way out, like mopping a floor, and then your HVAC system and ducts can be cleaned. And I will tell you from our experience, duct cleaning done the right way for the full system is you start with the return where the air is being drawn back into the system. Then you change the filters, clean the coil that's cooling or heating the air, and then you clean your supply. Okay, we can go on to the next one.
Well, thanks, Carl. We got another question in, and this is from an outside food vendor who owns a outdoor cart. So they said, their question is, what about sanitizing for the outside?
Outside of the food cart, or
so they own a food truck. So they're not an indoor facility, but they're like an outside. They have a food truck, so they have people coming up to their window and so forth.
Okay, so I think that you're going to want to, develop a way to get food to people in a means that makes them feel safe. Wearing gloves, getting it to them in some kind of a container that they can take it out of. But you're going to want to wipe down any of the service counters frequently. And then again, you're going to have that signage up. You're going to say, we're doing everything we can to make sure we're cleaning regularly to keep you safe.
Provide your customers with gloves. Provide them with sanitizers. Provide them with the things to keep themselves clean also coming in and out. Again, it'll build trust and comfort, and it's just part of the protocol. Should be.
Yeah, maybe you can install like a stick up hand
Eliminates the
sanitizer
contact.
station that's no touch.
Correct.
Put their hand under it, clean their hands.
Sanitizer on the table.
And yeah, and you know, you're outside too, so which is great because there's fresh air circulating all the time. So you know, that's a good thing. You might even want to say, hey, listen, we chose to have this outdoor facility, whether you talk about it, and we're hearing that, you know, fresh air is a good means of protection. Okay, so here's some cleanup procedures for this type. Again, I'm just going to keep repeating some of this stuff so you get educated and you know what to ask and how to protect yourself. You're going to set up some ventilation, keep fresh air moving through the environment. We've got some great weather these days, so air out your house, air out your business. You know, that could be a regular thing anyway. People love the smell of fresh air. Here's the definition of the fogging and misting. You know, in a lot of these products, you're going to hear, again, electrostatic fogging. We use what we call a fogger, but it's really an ultra low volume mist. So it's a fine mist. And that's just to kind of capture the airborne particles and put them down onto a cleanable surface. Again, fogging alone will not kill the COVID-19 virus if that is the concern. There's no product out there that knowingly does that. You're going to clean porous and non-porous surfaces depending upon level of infection. So physically wiping non-porous surfaces, mechanically vacuum or water extraction of porous surfaces, carpets, upholstery, you know, just items that can generally hold bacteria and viruses. And then, you know, you're going to disinfect things for non-porous surfaces. Some of the you're going to need to consider the foggers, trigger sprayers, just regular sprayers, putting it on the surface and letting it sit there. And then back to the disposal of the towels. Use all the cleaning surfaces and then get rid of it. A comment made to me over the weekend was, yeah, you know, I think we need a different level of cleaning. The people that are coming in doing the day-to-day cleaning, they're doing a great job. But this person mentioned to me, we noticed that they're taking the same towel and just dipping it into the cleaning solution. They're wearing gloves, they're doing everything else right, but they're using the same towel to clean the entire place. We don't recommend that. We're using disposable towels. Okay, we can go to the next one.
Yep.
Here's some of the products and equipment. So you have on the left side all of your PPE considerations. You know, from a full suit to a paper mask, goggles, gloves, even boots. And again, the suit, you're protecting yourself from the environment you're working in and the environment you're working in from you. Because again, the biggest difficulty, the biggest challenge with this whole COVID-19 thing is that there's people out there that have zero symptoms that are spreading this virus. So, you know, our attempt and any contractor's attempt, when they go in, they should be protecting that environment from them. The device in the middle, that's one of our air scrubbers. So that's, again, it's just a more aggressive means of changing the air in the environment that we're working in. And then you have over on the right, you have, you know, we have our own chemistry division, and they're constantly vetting products that come out, formulating things, and they're making sure that they're EPA registered. So we have a couple of products. This is one of them. The machine on the top, that's our ultra low volume sprayer or fogger. And then you have a cleaning bucket. You know, we'll keep towels in there in the cleaning solution, bring it out, use it for everything it's got for all the different surfaces. And then we have garbage bags. That's what we're throwing those used towels in. Okay, you can go to the next one.
Yep.
Here's, our additional resources, a couple additional links, different cleanup considerations, just for reading. It's a regurgitation of pretty much everything that I've talked about today. Okay, that's all I have. If there's any other questions, again, I just wanted to really make sure you guys are, Bob and I live in Cranford and the area. We want to make sure that you're our friends, neighbors, the stores that we visit all the time. We want to make sure that you're informed, educated, and to let you know that we're available for the community if you need any kind of consultation. And we understand everybody's situation, but really we wanted to just educate everybody when you're choosing a contractor or choosing a method and approach to cleaning your business or home.
Great. Thanks, Carl. Thanks, Blaise. Thanks, Bob. Thanks.
Okay, yeah. What did I not have him? Because I didn't have his phone number.
All right. Thanks to the team at SERVPRO. I unmuted everyone, so if you do have any questions, feel free to ask. If you do, does anybody have a question for these guys before we sign off? I know we're right at the hour. All right, guys, I think you've answered all the questions. On behalf of the Cranford Area Chamber of Commerce, thank you all for attending. Thank you for your questions. Thanks for your feedback. The Cranford Chamber has some fun stuff going on for Memorial Day weekend. So please follow our Facebook page.
No, I didn't know. Yeah, his number. It's fine.
Follow our Facebook page as well as our website, cranfordareachamber.com. Thanks all for joining. And as Andy said in the beginning, if there is another topic that you would like us to present on behalf, we would love to do it. We'll get the subject matters experts in and we'll invite you out to it. So thank you all for attending, and guys at SERVPRO, thanks so much for presenting for us.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
All right, thanks guys, bye.
Stay safe, have a great day.
You too, bye.